Hi, welcome back to Budget Van Life Adventures. It's going to be a very brief Q&A. I've had a couple of questions that were sent through on my email, budgetvanlifeadventures@gmail.com, and I thought rather than, well, I haven't replied to the actual person, but I thought I'd share the question that they asked. I'm not going to give out their details. But they basically put, how budget was your budget build? I think I mentioned it briefly in my van tour video, that the actual cost of the total project. But what I've actually done, I've broken it down into a more manageable amount. The van itself, he wanted £2,250 and £150 for delivery. Now bear in mind, when I bought the van, it was the very beginning of the very first lockdown, so I couldn't really get, it was in Birmingham, so it was quite a way away, so I had to have it delivered. But I managed to knock him down to £1,950 including delivery, so I saved £400 right off the bat there. And it was full MOT, full service history, ex-council bus, which is what I wanted, because I know it would be well looked after, well maintained. I mean, the service book that comes with it is like packed full like that. It was serviced every 6 weeks, and it had done 146,000 miles. And I've shown a picture on my Instagram, at Budget Van Life Adventures, of the actual engine bay itself. I've never seen a vehicle that age with it looks so clean. I mean, looks can be deceiving and everything, but it looks almost brand new. But breaking the cost down, the actual cost of the van, I said, is £1,950. The actual cost of the build I've got at £1,632.72, which gives a total price of £3,582.72. Now, at which point you might think, well, that's not very budget, is it? You know, I've got this, that and the other, and I can't afford this, that and the other. I've taken out what I deemed wasn't necessary for the actual van itself. By that I mean I've taken out tools that I didn't have, that I purchased, that I thought, well, I'll use them again for other projects. So I invested a little more than I would normally. Normally I'm proper budget, you know, the cheapest drill from Argos and £1 bags of screws and this, that and the other. But I realised it was a big project, and if I wanted to do it, I wanted to do it right. So I managed to get a decent set of DeWalt. It's a twin set of a screwdriver and an impact driver. And I actually got it from Cost Converters online for £130. You can still buy the set brand new now, and it's about 340 quid. So, and I know that's going to last me forever now. But the majority of the tools I got from the marketplace, like the chop saw was £15. But certain tools that I had to get brand new because I wanted them there and then. One of them was a reciprocating saw, and it was £40. But that was the hardest part of the build, was getting the spare seats out of the van, because they were machine bolted in. I couldn't get them out at all, so I had to cut the seats out to get access so I could get the biggest leverage. But I'd taken out, as I say, all the bits and bobs that I deemed weren't relevant. Now the average person could copy what I did if they had the tools, and I took out the cost of tools and the extras. And funnily enough, I mean, as you know, the van is I've named it Eddie after Iron Maiden's mascot. And one of Iron Maiden's best albums, in my opinion, is Number of the Beast, and they've got a song called Number of the Beast. And I haven't planned this at all, but I've taken out all the extras and the niceties, if you like the generator. The generator was £240. Now, in hindsight, I wouldn't have bought that if I'd known how heavy it was and what a pain in the backside it is to get it in and out. But, you know, you live and learn, don't you? But the actual total cost of tools and the niceties was £666.02, which is kind of freaky, which actually makes the build less than £1,000. Now, I made a mistake in that, as I say, I'm proper budget. I bought the wood from B&Q, the thickness of the wood, basically because of the price. There was, I think they're about, I don't know, 7 or 8 feet lengths of wood for £3.32. I thought, oh, that's cheap. But in reality, it wasn't, because you can only use one for the bed. And I've got like, I don't know, maybe 8 slats, and then you've got the actual support. So I actually spent a lot more on wood than I would have done. I think you could replicate what I've done with my bus rather, for about £600, and that's like the basic no frills. I mean, there's no frills on Eddie, you know, there's no running water, there's no electrics as such, you know, but things like that you can do without, you know. But what obviously the main thing you need is a toilet or a toilet system, and again, that wasn't expensive. It's about 25 quid, I think it is, and quintessentially, well, you've seen it. Quintessentially, it's a bucket with like a toilet seat on it, but it does the job, and that's the only really necessity I think you need. You can make do with anything else really. So I think you could replicate it, as I said, for about 600 quid, which means, I mean, it's a big vehicle as well. You know, you don't have to have a big transit. You could do it in a compact van or a small escort type van. You know, as long as you can lay down in it, or in any vehicle really, you can convert it to any sort of standard really. The only other question I got actually was, do you get scared being on your own? I'm going to be 100% honest with you. No, I don't get scared, because there's too much to be scared of. At the end of the day, if something's going to happen, it's going to happen. I mean, there was a poor lass on Instagram. It was her first time out. I mean, she'd done the van build herself, and she got vandalised while she was in the van. Somebody smashed the windscreen, which is heartbreaking. You know, when you put everything into it, because when you're building a van like I've built a van, you're using every resource that you've got, and you're making sacrifices. You're living on beef paste sandwiches and boiled eggs and soldiers, and you know, just so you can basically create your dream really. I'm not a fighter. I'm not a strong person. You know, I would find it very difficult to defend myself physically, but I do have precautions. You know, I've got things in the van that you can see one there, actually, in the mirror there. I have things that are legal. They're not legal if you're waving around in the street, but they're legal. But I've got things that make loud noises. I've got things that will sting a lot. And I've got Tess. I mean, she's 12 years old, but she still looks like a silverback gorilla when she wants to. And when I was on my first adventure, there was only one time that I thought that I had a bit of a twitchy bum, and I was in not the wilds of Scotland really. It was on the outskirts of a village in a lay-by, but the lay-by was by a public walk path. But the actual lay-by itself was maybe 3 car lengths, so it was only a small one. And bear in mind, Eddie takes up 2 car lengths. And it was about 10:30 at night, and I was snuggled in and reading my book, and I could hear this music. And it's that music when you hear, you think, oh God. You know, it was pitch black. Obviously, they've had the windows down, blasting out this god-awful thumping music. And they screeched into the lay-by. Didn't concern me at all, not at all. And then 3 doors opened, and then subsequently closed. Again, wasn't phased, you know. Music was still going. I thought, why are they getting out if the music's still going? I thought, well, they're probably just swapping drivers over. And then another car came screeching up, thumping music. And then they both peeled off together. Not phased at all, you know, that's fine. That's life. And then 5 minutes later, I could hear it in the distance coming back, this thump, 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 thump. And then I thought, I think they think this van is empty. And I thought this might get a little bit lively. So I got up basically, and the cars again, they screeched into the lay-by, and I had my hands on certain things ready, and but again they just peeled off within a couple of minutes, and that was the only time that I thought something might happen. And there's a chance they may have seen the van moving, but in those situations, or in any situation, before I park up, I always have my keys ready to hand should something occur and I need to jump in the driver's seat and take off. That's one of the reasons why I built Eddie the way I did. I wanted to be able to access the driver's side or the driving controls from the inside of the van, but also there's be aware of your surroundings before you park up and settle down for the night. Have a look where, should you need to make not an escape but a hasty exit, say, that you're okay to do so. Like, don't park in nose first, so you've got to like reverse or perform a maneuver that you might not be able to do quickly. But also make a note of what's around you, where the nearest house is, or the nearest place of authority, like a police station or something like that, or a public house even. I'm going to come on to that in another video actually about pubs and things. But basically, use your common sense. Don't park in an area where immediately you feel uncomfortable. You'll know, wherever you park, you'll know if you'll be happy there. And I'm a positive person anyway, and I like to think that, you know, the world is quite happy with me just doing my own little thing. You know, I'm not hurting anybody, I'm not getting in anybody's way, or, you know, I don't go out my way to upset anybody. So, you know, it should mirror in its behaviour towards myself. But, you know, things happen, unfortunately. But just take precautions. I'm not saying go to bed with a butcher's knife, because that's, you know, that's ludicrous. Don't have anything that can be taken off you and used against you. You know, I mean, the things that I have that will make noise will pretty much scare anybody away, you know. But getting into an up close situation, avoid that at all costs. At all costs. I mean, I've just thought of this now. Actually, what I could have done, I've got an amber light, like a workman's light, on the top of Eddie. I should have just flicked that on, shouldn't I? Because then they would have known somebody's in the van. Or I could have just got out. But getting out, I'm getting out into the unknown, and there's multiple people. Or I could have put a light on even, you know. But hindsight's a wonderful thing. But no, I don't get scared. And the cost of the van is there for you as well. I mean, you can do it to whatever specification you want. There are vans on YouTube where people are putting in vapor barriers and, you know, ripping out floors. I didn't take the ceiling down or anything. It's not insulated. The majority of the van is glass. So I've insulated where I blacked out the glass, but I didn't feel the need to go overboard, because it's going to lose so much heat anyway through the glass all the way around the bus. So I didn't see the need to rip down the ceiling, the perfectly good ceiling in the van already that's going to have some insulation. I'll just say one thing, and that's have a damp proof, like I've got those bags you get from Pound Stretchers, just to help with the damp. I mean, they take a lot of the condensation away. There's no condensation on the windscreen when I wake up in the morning. So yeah, you don't need to spend thousands and thousands of pounds. You can if you want. Yeah, I'm not saying it's, you know, if you got it, then that's fine. But I would rather use that money for diesel and, you know, go out and see the countryside or the seaside, whichever. Okay, so there's quite a long 2-question Q&A, but if you've got any questions at all, either pop it in the comments, or you can, like the others did, email me at budgetlifeadventures@gmail.com. I forgot it then because I've not used it a lot. But yeah, here we go. I'll see you on the next one. Take care.